Excellent. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate that, Home Lending Pal. And now up we have Danny Wallentine, Senior Director of Sales, and he's going to tell us about Eltropy. Hey, Danny, how
Thank
are
you
you?
so much, Tony. And hey, everyone, how's it going?
Good. How are you? Thanks for being here for 12 days.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me. So is it all right if I go ahead, share my screen and dive in?
Please do. Take
Okay.
it away.
And I'll be watching the clock to make sure we use the time appropriately. Well, hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. As Tony mentioned, my name is Danny Wallentine, and I am the Senior Director of Sales for Mortgage Lending at Eltropy. Some of you may recognize me from having worked together on other lending technologies in the past. Prior to Eltropy, I was an early employee at two other software providers in the space. At Total Expert, I was their 7th employee and worked with a lot of the national and regional brands across the country that leverage that CRM and marketing platform still today. And at Capacity, formerly Jane.ai, I was a part of their first sales team and drove adoption of their AI support automation solution to lenders across the country. I met Eltropy a little over 2.5 years ago, and at the time, there were only 6 clients on the platform. Fast forward 2.5 years later, and Eltropy has grown from 6 to 260 clients today and is ranked as a top text messaging solution for financial institutions. I jumped on board earlier this year to help lead sales for our mortgage lending business. Today, I'm going to be talking about how text is changing the lending process. By the numbers, results we're seeing from lenders that are using text in the process today, along with a look at what the consumer data is telling us. Lastly, I'll demonstrate a couple of ways that you can use Eltropy to leverage text messaging across the process with borrowers going forward. For starters, as you all witnessed, COVID-19 dramatically changed how we communicate with each other, with our loved ones, friends, and in our professional and business relationships. Digital remote experiences became our everyday and new norm. The world has changed, and this has presented the industry with new frontiers. Mobile services, virtual e-closings, to name a couple, while consumer expectations are increasingly high and brand loyalty continues to decline. The net result is lenders are struggling with 2 competing challenges. Number 1, deliver an exceptional digital lending experience. Number 2, in an extremely tight labor market. As a result, we're finding that all of you need to do more with less resources. And thus, we're seeing many lenders tackling areas within the lending workflows themselves to speed up the process and greatly enhance your team's efficiency. Text is one area achieving this and in a very compelling way. So let's get into more on that. For starters, to introduce Eltropy, Eltropy is the only enterprise text platform for lenders today. Eltropy supports your different departments such as lending, marketing, collections, call center, or others with text capabilities, while everything is managed at the organization or enterprise level. At Eltropy, we think of it similarly to how you provide each of your employees with an email account. With Eltropy, it's very much the same, but for text, having a work account for text messaging with borrowers and having their own personal text account for a variety of reasons. This gives your employees the ability to work with borrowers over text in the same ways that they otherwise would via phone, email, or your applications. And Eltropy handles all the complexities when it comes to integration, security, and compliance. So why text? There have been a number of recent studies that have measured consumer interest in texting with brands that they are working with in comparison to using traditional methods such as phone, email, or applications. These are just a couple of examples, but if you go and do a quick Google search, you will find a number of the same findings. The above study shows that consumers strongly prefer text over email, applications, and direct mail. And below, we see that 95% of text messages are read and responded to within just 3 minutes of delivery. That's compared to email at an average of 90 minutes, and only 20% of emails are ever even opened compared to text at 98%. Taking that in for a second, think of all the areas that your team is relying on email alone throughout the process, only for 1 in 5 of those messages to ever be opened. We've broken down a few of the biggest pain points throughout the lending life cycle. During the application stage, 35% of apps are abandoned by borrowers. During origination, document collection takes forever, and there's way too much phone and email tag going on with borrowers, most of which occurs during the business hours when consumers are working, busy, and unable to answer phone or personal email. And lastly, servicing. 65% of borrowers never even set up autopay. So what does that solution look like with Eltropy? During the application process, Eltropy can send intelligent text reminders, enable one-to-one text conversations between borrowers and your staff, along with secure document collection. Throughout origination, using Eltropy for text for secure document collection and one-to-one text conversations with borrowers. And for servicing, triggering payment reminders and tasks directly via text. The following are a couple of case studies from clients using Eltropy in the lending process today. In the first example, one of our larger clients reduced their number of days from loan approval to funding from 15 down to 12 days after implementing two-way text and secure doc collection. Another client reduced their average document submission time from 24 hours down to 33 minutes, or roughly 44 times faster. For marketing, text has proven to have significantly higher engagement and click-through rates in comparison to email. In this example, our client increased their click-through rate from 2.5% to 13%. Or with collections, we have Sean Spratt, who's the VP of Collections at Canvas Credit Union, explaining how text has been a very effective means for collections in comparison to phone and email. Alrighty, so with that, let's jump over and show you a few live examples of Eltropy in action. I am going to be demoing Eltropy both from my desktop, as you're seeing here, and then I also have an application where I can broadcast my phone so you can see what the borrower would be experiencing. Pulling that up here. All right. So I'm going to pretend that I'm one of your users working with a borrower. And I noticed that I'm still waiting on a copy of your pay stub. So in Eltropy, I go into my messages tab here. If I've had a prior conversation with this borrower, I can pick that up or start a new conversation. I'm going to navigate below here to the tab that says request document. When I pull that up, I select the document type. In this case, pay stub. I could select multiple files or others. I can put an expiration date on this if I want it to be extremely time sensitive or not, and click request. This will auto-populate a message that your team can customize, and I click send. From the borrower's side, you notice that I received a text message. I'm going to open that up, click on the link. This brings the borrower into a secure web browsing session and prompts a verification to confirm their identity. I select that, copy my code, click confirm. And now I can go ahead and upload a copy of my pay stub or take a photo of that. Click submit. And now going back to Eltropy here, you see that I can have viewed, or I have insights into when that consumer has viewed my request. Eltropy provides insights into all of the activity that you're performing over text with borrowers. And so if this consumer didn't view that, I would probably know in a couple hours to follow up with them. Or if they didn't submit their pay stub, I would follow up with them in a couple hours, see if they're having any issues. And here you can see I have a copy of that pay stub. This and other files will automatically be stored back in systems that we're connected to, such as Encompass. So you don't need to do manual efforts there. And now as we proceed throughout the process, and I need to get documents signed by the borrower, I go to my e-signature tab to make that request. All of these are different actions that you can perform with borrowers over text. In this example, we are using DocuSign. However, we are connected to a variety of other doc services. And these documents could be triggered automatically following triggers that we receive from other systems as borrowers proceed throughout the process, such as Encompass or your point of sale. I'm going to click send or continue, sorry. I'm going to add the signature fields for where those need to be completed. And go ahead and click send. Going back to my borrower's view here, you see I just received that. So I'm going to open up the document. If you're having a number of tasks in a specific period of time, we can enable where you don't need to do this verification code. But I'm going to go do that for demonstration purposes. You see, I just got a notification. I viewed that. Continue, sign, done. And now back in Eltropy, you can see here we have a copy of the certificate of completion. And this again would be stored back in the connected systems. So in closing, these are just a few of the ways that lenders are using Eltropy for text messaging today. These are a couple of the complex use cases. However, there are a number of others that clients are leveraging Eltropy for. So to summarize the value that we're seeing in working with 260 financial institutions today. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of shared screen here issue. Nope, don't do that. Our average client return on investment is 12 times their investment in Eltropy. For lending, 44 times faster document collection. For collections, 40 times faster response rate. For contact center, 20% reduction in call volume. For marketing, 500% engagement, greater engagement than email. And business development, overall 140% net new increase in customers. So to summarize or close, COVID-19's changed the game for financial services, and text is going to play a leading role in the process of borrowers going forward. Lenders ultimately have a couple of choices: choosing to leverage a best-in-breed text platform that fits uniquely to your existing workflows, applications, and across your departments. The other option is attempting to develop that in-house and/or piecing that experience together across your various enterprise applications. These are different risks associated with each of these, and I would love to discuss what we're hearing from the market with any of you further. Eltropy is the fastest growing enabler fintech for financial institutions, and text is just the beginning. Eltropy recently introduced our digital communications layer, which combines text with other digital channels such as video, chat, or co-browsing to further empower the digital lending and banking experience. I want to thank you all so much for the time today. Please reach out if you're interested in learning more. Thank you again.
Thank you, Danny. Appreciate that. Wow. 98% of texts open as opposed to 20% of emails open. I mean, that is unimaginable. It's like, I'm going to start texting everyone now through Eltropy. Excellent. Well, thank you so very much. Appreciate the information that you've shared with us today, and appreciate you guys being part of the Lightning Showcase and 12 Days of TMC. So thank you very much for that.